Hello, loves! Once again, I am Silent3, and this is my kitchen. I hope that didn't make you dizzy. So, I realized that I had said I was going to do this a while back, and that I was going to make an apple and peach pie, but there were a few problems with that. First of all, peaches aren't in season. Secondly, I don't actually need an apple pie right now, which is weird, because who doesn't need an apple pie? But thirdly, and most importantly for the purposes of this, I was challenged to make something else. So, that's what we're going to be making today, and it is a buffalo chicken wing dip pie. I have to try it. So here's what we're gonna do. When I was trying to figure out the logistics of this pie, I needed to figure out what kind of crust I should give it. And, like, you know, you think of a pie, you think of that traditional pie crust, and that's a good crust for regular pies, but this is not going to be a regular pie. So I put some thought into it, and I decided my best option would probably be to invent a completely new, different pie crust. So here's what I decided to do for the crust. I started with the base of like a regular graham cracker crust, only instead of using graham crackers, I'm using tortilla chips. It seems to make sense. You know, this is a dip-based pie, so let's use chips for the crust. So what I've done is I took a bunch of these chips. Don't worry about that over there. I took a bunch of these chips and I put them in my food processor. It's a pretty small food processor, but you know, it gets the job done. And now I'm going to add some butter to it. I am doing about 1.5 cups of crumbs, chip crumbs, and 6 tablespoons of butter. That's 3/4 of a stick of butter. And now I'm going to use the food processor to mix it up. I don't know how loud... Whoops. Butter. I don't know how loud this is going to be and if it's going to actually pick up. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. Once we get to this point... Oh yeah, that looks pretty good, right? Mmm. Once we get to the... Oh, man. Oh, that smells really freaking good, guys. Okay, I have a... Oh, I've made a mess, too. Don't look at that, guys. Doop-a-doop-a-doo! We're over here! You don't see it? Okay, I have just a regular pie crust here. Pie tin thing here. So I am going to dump this in. I probably should have used a bowl. I'm going to set this down. This is going to be awkward. I'm going to set this down here. We're getting creative. Perfect. There. No one will ever know. Oh, God. I feel like a professional. Okay, I like it. Like this. Cooking is hard, guys. Oh, perfect. Alright, so I kind of cleaned up my kitchen a little bit because I didn't want you to see my dirty dishes and stuff. I'm unplugging my food processor, by the way, because it's not a good thing to play with these while they're still plugged in. So, exercise food safety, everyone. So I cleaned up a whole bunch of my dishes because I didn't want you to see them. And that means I don't want to use any more dishes. Because, like, man, I just cleaned them up, you know? So, I'm going to see what I can do to use as few more dishes as I can. Which is why I didn't do the mixing in a bowl. Like, I probably should have dumped out all of my tortilla chips and put them into a bowl and mixed it up with the butter. But no, that's too many dishes. My food processor was already dirty because I used them for the thing. Like, if I didn't have a food processor, what I would have done for this part would be just, like, put a whole bunch of chips in a Ziploc bag and, like, crushed them by hand. But, man, that is a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. And, you know, I have this food processor. I might as well use it, right? I'm actually really pleased with how it works. It was like a free gift that I won, so I didn't have to pay for it, which is why I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, I'll take a food processor. Yeah, but I've actually been really, really pleased with it. This isn't an advertisement for this KitchenAid mini robot. No, that's the French version. Never mind. It's a food processor. It doesn't matter. I was reading the box, but I have the French side turned towards me, so that didn't work. It's probably not pronounced mini robot in French. So, you know, I'm just like smooshing this in and getting it all nice and even. The recipe that I base this off of, the graham cracker crust, it also said to use 1/3 cup of sugar, but that is not appropriate for this. So I wanted to kind of play with it and see. Like, I didn't put anything extra. This is just the tortilla chips and the butter. And I think the consistency is pretty good. I don't think it's missing much. It's, you know, kind of climbing up the pan okay. These sides are really uneven. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? It has to be perfect. We'll get back to this. So I've just licked the spatula. It just tastes really weird. I don't know how this is gonna go, but I'm hopeful. Again, the base recipe that I used, this is a baked pie crust, and I'm probably going to end up putting it in the oven again once the filling is in it. However, the consistency of this, it's really super crumbly, and I'm hoping if I bake it first and then bake it again, it won't taste burnt, for one, and also it'll hold its shape a little bit better. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to put it in at 375 for, what does my recipe say? I'm sorry, 350. And I'm going to put it in for about 20 minutes. So hopefully it will hold its shape once I do that. While we're waiting for our pie crust to bake, we'll go ahead and get started on the filling. Now, like I said, this is going to be a buffalo chicken wing dip, so of course we're going to have chicken. I get just like an entire rotisserie chicken from the local grocery store. They're like $5. It's already made. It's delicious. I highly recommend doing it. Not necessarily for this recipe, but like for everything, because they're fantastic. In addition to that, we're going to have some cream cheese as well. I'm using an entire block of cream cheese, slightly softened. Hopefully that will help with the whole mixing process. Just for a little bit of funsies and to add a little slightly extra kick, I'm also going to be adding some jalapenos. I haven't found a single recipe that actually says, hey, use jalapenos in this, but I'm going to do it anyway just because I think it'll add a nice little crispness and also a little bit of extra heat. A little bit of extra heat, of course, in addition to our hot sauce. It's buffalo chicken dip. It's got to have some buffalo sauce. I don't make these rules. It just has to. And I'm also going to add some ranch. So we're going to go ahead and get that together. First, I'm going to be slicing my jalapenos. Just like when I made the chili, when I cut my jalapenos, I'm going to seed them and take out all of the like filmy stuff in there. So that's what I'm doing here. My knife skills are atrocious. I am aware of this. There's no need to tell me in the comments. If you would like to tell me in the comments anyway, I can't really stop you, but don't worry, it's a known issue. I watched a video about like proper techniques and all that. Like, I never got the hang of the claw that we're supposed to use. I mean, to be fair, the part that I'm doing right now, this is kind of a weird area to be getting, like, inside the jalapeno stuff. It gets the job done. That's the important thing, right? I'm gonna give these a rinse. So, yeah, and again, just like in the video when I made the chili, I'm going to be dicing these. And just like in the video when I made the chili, I'm sure it is at this point when I'm reminded of all of the little tiny cuts I have on my hands. I used gloves in that one, didn't I? Jeez. Past me was so smart. Okay, let's pretend we can do this claw thing. You can watch the videos and see, like, how easy they make it look. But when a real person tries it, it just feels super de-duper awkward. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people at Tasty. Your knife skill recommendations are very difficult for me to do. I've got to say, one of the hardest parts so far of doing this video is starting and stopping the stream while my hand is covered in chicken goop. It's not bad though. So this is some of the chicken, the rotisserie chicken. The rest of it is over here. It's a work in progress, getting this all torn up. But it's pretty easy. All you do is cut off a chunk of it and then tear it up. You don't even have to cut a chunk, really. You can just, like, rip a piece off. But, I don't know, maybe I pretend to be civilized or something before I shred chicken. There's no point to it, really. But, you know, it's easy. All you have to do is tear. It doesn't have to be perfect. There can be some bigger chunks in there. There can be some really tiny chunks in there. This is your chicken dip. You make it however you want to make it. And I'll make mine however I want to make it. So you can just buzz off, okay? I'm doing my best. So I just took the crust out of the oven. And the sides that I had so painstakingly built up just fell. But that's okay. It'll be, you know, just like a bottom crust. It's still all mulchy or something. This is going to be an experiment. That's the whole plan. It's an experiment. We'll see how it goes. She's hiding over there. She's my kitchen helper. She helps me make sure that all of the chicken is good. How is it, puppy sweets? Is your ear inside out? Gets a Starlight seal of approval. Good. Meanwhile, Sebastian's over here licking a plastic bag. He's pretty content. Alright, so I have my chicken in here. This is almost the entire chicken. Minus one leg and thigh, because Dice had that for dinner. And then, like, the tidbits that Starlight and I were eating throughout. So I washed my hands really well. And now I'm going to give this a bit of a mix. I wonder if I should have used 2 blocks of cream cheese. Once I get in here and start mixing it up, it doesn't look like a whole lot. I mean, yeah, there's still going to be ranch and hot sauce, but it's not a whole lot. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Meow. So here's how this is looking. It's, let's try to get this right side up. It's a pretty good, very creamy consistency. Now I'm going to add the ranch and the hot sauce, but I'm not going to mix that by hand, because... Yes, hello? Oh! Oh, God. Do you feel better now? What a little jerk. That looks good, right? How big is this jar? 12 ounces. I'm gonna guess that was like 4 or 5 ounces. Yeah, that'll do. Alright, I got it all mixed up. It's looking okay. I think I might add some shredded cheese in there. Like I tasted the hot sauce that I put in there, just like, you know, there's a little bit dripping down the side of the bottle, so let's go ahead and throw that, or, you know, give it a try, see how it is. Turns out it's pretty hot. I may have overdone it with the sauce a bit. Hopefully the person that challenged me to do this likes spicy. We're gonna hope. Let's get some cheese. Nice. She also helps me test the cheese. She knows the sound of the cheese bag. Show some cheese. There you go. She likes cheese. So here we have it. It's a bit of an orange mess. You know what it reminds me of? Never mind, let's not get political. I'm gonna start putting some in my... Oh. This crust is just dissolving. I don't know. Maybe the sugar is there in the original crust to like, I don't know, like absorb some of the liquid in the butter to make it actually set. Maybe, you know, maybe tortilla chips just aren't meant to be a pie crust. It's not really something I was ever expecting to say in my life, but, you know, there we go. There we have it. I've said it. I don't know. I think it looks pretty good so far. I mean, if we ignore the fact that the crust underneath is failing. Basically, I've made, like, buffalo chicken dip. But I've made it in a pie tin. Glass. It's glass. It's not a pie tin. It's pie glass. It's not perfect. But an attempt was made. Yep. Let's get some of this extra stuff on here. Don't worry, I washed my hands. Okay. So we'll do this. We're going to sprinkle some more of the cheddar cheese on top. Maybe I should have just, like, chilled the pie crust. How do I want to do this? We'll just sprinkle some on top. I'm putting my hand here so it kind of spreads out a little bit. I mean, the better way to do it would probably be to, like, actually pour some in my hand and then sprinkle it. But, nope, too bad. This is how we're doing it. Okay. Now let's get this back in the oven. And we'll give that some time. Alright, here we go. Let's see what we have here. Ooh. Looks pretty good, actually. I would eat that. Okay, so now all we have left is some garnish. Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was thinking maybe instead of trying to build up the crust up the side like I did, maybe if I ever make something like this again, I'll just like line the outside edges like this with chips. So there's this cake that I make. It's a really, really good cake. And it's got pecans in it. And when I decorate it, like the very first thing I do is I go through and pull out some of the best looking pecans so those can be the garnish at the end. And it occurs to me now that I should have done the same with these chips. Because this is going to end up probably looking a little bit like a mess. To be fair, I'm not sure it would have looked any less like a mess if I had carefully chosen particularly nice chips. Ooh, that's a good one. These I'll use later. I promise I'm not just making a great big mess for the sake of making a mess. It just seems like it. I think I might have started to say earlier. I was afraid that I had made it too spicy. Because it doesn't take much for something to be too spicy for me. But, I cleaned out the bowl that I made it in, and, you know, I think it's gonna be okay. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So we have this nice little spiky thing going around the outside. I'll put in a few more, like one layer in. I'm not really sure how I would accomplish, like, a lattice crust with chips, but I feel like this is about as close as I'm gonna get. Turns out, decorating, like when it comes to decorating, tortilla chips are not the easiest to work with. There we go. We'll put some more on around the outside. Just like setting them on or something. I don't know. This decoration, much like the entirety of the rest of this pie, I am making it up as I go. But, with any luck, it'll end up tasting good, and that's the important thing. Something that you should remember when you're cooking is to have fun with it. And as long as you don't make something like poisonous, that's all that matters. Like, have fun. Have fun and don't be toxic. It's funny how, like, video game community and cooking have some of the same basic rules. Okay, now we're going to take this and do that. Ta-da! And here we have it. Buffalo chicken wing dip pie. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you make it, share pictures of it with me on Twitter @Silent3. Because I'm really curious if anyone else is going to try to make this abomination. Alright. And that's all I have for you. Take care. Thanks. Goodbye, loves.